my mother's grave is still in our Imphal property. I have no access to that. My children have no access to that. And the recent news, I don't know if it's rumors or if it's confirmed news, but apparently my own house has been used as the headquarters of the Arambai Tengu. This is the pain that I have to live with every day.
The problem is not the petition. The problem is the action or inaction. The problem is the situation that we find ourselves in. The problem is that my mother, still 8-9 months from now, is not in her home, safe and sound.
What is the road ahead? Nobody has any idea.
And in India, they've been questioning this behind locked doors, maybe in smaller groups, etc. But this sentiment exists. It is there, and the leaders need to respond to it.
And this petition, in a way, very clearly calls on our two elected MLAs, Nemcha and Kipgen Letpao, to distance themselves from the government of Biren Singh, who we say has been the mastermind of this violence, this ethnic cleansing, this burning of our homes, the clearing of the Kuki Zo people from the Imphal Valley.
There are so many people whose names you'll never hear that are working behind the scenes, working very hard, have helped people either individually. In fact, my own family was saved because a young Meitei person sheltered them in his home.
So, viewers, welcome back to DYNT News. Today we are discussing a petition that has been written by global citizens of Kuki Zo, and the main writer of this is Lien Gangte, and today also we have with us Florence Lowe, who is giving exemplary leadership to the cause of Kuki Zo in the US. And as the viewers already know, Lien Gangte has previously come on our show, and he heads the Canada version of NAMTA. So welcome all. Viewers, please like, share and subscribe. DYNT means democratize your nation today, and our tagline, our can one human at a time. So first question to Lien Gangte. Lien Gangte, why wait for 8 months?
First of all, Sheikh, thank you for having us back on your show, and I also want to thank Florence to also join us on this conversation. So yeah, so I think that's a question that maybe I want to throw it to our broader community. That this is an issue that has been going on for over 8 months now. Isn't it high time that we start talking about things in a very serious and in a real way, and not confuse ourselves in contradictory terms, so that our demands and whatever larger aspirations that we have for our people becomes clear, whether it's for people on the ground, people, our community within India or elsewhere around the world. We need to make it very clear where we stand. And for those of us who don't have the structure of the status quo power structure for our voices to be heard, we've waited this whole time. And the necessity for this petition is because there was a total lack of clarity and non-transparency. And I think we've waited long enough, and we need to move out of this obscurity into clearing the the scene and see where things are, and we need to just shine a light on what the real issues are. And this petition, in a way, very clearly calls on our two elected MLAs, Nemcha and Kipgen Letpao, to distance themselves from the government of Biren Singh, who we say has been the mastermind of this violence, this ethnic cleansing, this burning of our homes, the clearing of the Kuki Zo people from the Imphal Valley, um, and to belong to a cabinet of such a fascist character just completely does not make any sort of sense. Whether you want to have a discussion within the own community or whether you want to, talk to the broader Indian audience or internationally. This structure, this fighting the enemy and sleeping with the enemy at the same time, it has to be clear. You cannot do both. You either fight the enemy or you sleep with them. There is no in between. I think so. That's what we're calling for a clarification on where the stances are, right? And it's not an attack, as some people may interpret, on our two elected members. At the end of the day, they're still our people. They're still Amy, how we call it, right? So we're only asking them
Yes,
to
understood.
distance themselves
Yeah,
from
yes,
this.
yeah, understood.
Thank you.
This is essentially a cosmetic change. So my question to Florence, ma'am, since this is a cosmetic change only, they are just going to give away their ministership. They will still be MLAs, but still there is a lot of resistance from certain sections of quote unquote the community. How are you seeing this response as, and what is your reaction to the bad response, or rather poor response towards this petition?
Uh, Sheikh, thank you so much for bringing us on to have a conversation about this. I would like to start off by talking a little bit about, reminding us about why Lien and I are here in this position. Um, I'm reminded of Pastor Martin Muller's words, and I want to remind you all of that. First, they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. I am the poster child of the sentiment behind this. I had no idea the kinds of issues we were dealing with in Manipur until my family home, my mother was running for her life, and my family home was burned in Imphal on May 3rd. I was not paying attention at all to any of this. Both Lien and I are not activists. We're not nonprofit people. We both have corporate backgrounds, engineering backgrounds. And when this happened on May 3rd, and Lien and his family and his father was similarly affected, we had to do something about it. Living here in the United States and in Canada, it's very difficult to go about your life when your mother is in hiding, which is essentially what I was faced with on the afternoon of May 3rd. So you started out asking why 8 months from now. I'll tell you, I feel like we have no idea, at least on our part, what we're doing. When the idea of this petition came about, it seemed very logical, pretty, logical move for anyone in a democracy. I, even asked the question, why haven't all the other elected members resigned as well? Because from the West, what we're trying to do is raise awareness and raise funds so that we can help our people. But a lot of the political solutions have to come from within the country and within our people. Now, because of the situation, we do understand that it is difficult for people that are in India to speak up. And this is why Lien and I find ourselves in this position of having to use our voices to speak up. So I think we're frankly amateurs in this in this fight, as are everyone, when they're confronted with existential issues like this. And I fear for uh, the the elected members as well, and I know that they probably have done a lot to help our people. And I think they need to understand that this kind of a petition is not, it's par for the course. They need to react to it and either give people a reason to continue to support them, or help the people understand. Because I know when they first started writing the petition, uh, the what we'd been hearing for many, many months has been that people on the ground, our people, Amy, in Manipur and in India, they've been questioning this behind locked doors, maybe in smaller groups, etc. But this sentiment exists; it is there, and the leaders need to respond to it.
Yeah, I agree to it because as mainland Indians, I and other people who are non-Kukizo but Indian taxpayers, we have always been asking, why these two people are continuing their stint in the cabinet of Biren Singh, and it is being proved now that Biren Singh, Amit Shah, Modi, all are controlling your political leaders as well. That is my experience, and I would say that things are not looking really good. Still, this pressure that is being created upon global citizens for Kuki Zo to somehow withdraw this petition. I think this is something which is not unexpected, but also I think 8 months from now, just for a cosmetic change, this should not be the response. But anyways, moving forward, uh, one important
And
question.
Sheikh, if I
Yeah.
may, just to sort of double click on that point,
Mm.
uh, it is it is quite irresponsible to attack the people or the petition itself. The problem is not the petition. The problem is the action or inaction. The problem is the situation that we find ourselves in. The problem is that my mother, still 8, 9 months from now, is not in her home, safe and sound, and is uh, living with very kind, very good relatives, but nonetheless, this is not her home. That is the problem. That is the core problem. The problem is not the petition or the hearts or what people have done, and we need to. Everyone needs to understand what the core problem is, and let's attack the core problem. Let's not be divided. Let's attack the core problem. Sorry, Sheikh, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. Also, I don't think that political representatives also, their job is not to provide aid. Their job is to bring political change or advocate for political solution,
That's
which
right.
is something
Exactly.
lacking.
Mhm.
So
And
even if,
okay,
even if
may I
they,
jump in?
yeah,
Sorry.
please go ahead. Mm.
See, I think that is also part of the point that we've been making. We had with some of our other key people from the Global Citizens for Kuki Zo. We were on Hornbill TV with our own vernacular news channel. And even there, we tried to make the point very clear that this petition is demanding a very simple, basic, commonsensical idea to be implemented, which is for the cabinet ministers to step down from their position as a gesture of their solidarity with their people, as a gesture of their protest against all the stuff that's happening. And I think we can go through a lot of the more recent issues that have been happening. Um, but there's also like what we kind of just started alluding to. There is a difference between what we do as private citizens and what our elected leaders are supposed to do. They are elected representatives who are public figures. They have a public responsibility to represent their people. They are not private citizens that can hide behind wherever they're hiding and be non-transparent in their actions. They have to communicate to their people. They have to lead their people, and you cannot lead your people if you don't communicate and if you don't let your people know what's happening. So I think one of the backlash points that I'd like to also clarify is even what Florence said, about the other like 10 MLAs resigning along with everybody else. And those, in my thinking, are a bit more of a more radical demand than this. What we're demanding in the petition is very simple. We're not even asking for the MLAs to resign. It's much more benign, right? It's a very benign request for them to step down from their cabinet position from a government that is trying to kill and annihilate us. And like what Florence has also mentioned, our families share that same kind of trauma and loss of property and our the dignity to our own life and the future of our family. My own family, as most people know by now, on May 4th was attacked and our house was burnt in Imphal. My father, who is almost 90, is completely displaced and he's homeless at this point. And almost 9 months on, like we have no clarity about what the future is. Ask anybody in our society, what is the road ahead? Nobody has any idea. And part of that confusion, in our opinion, lies because of a lack of leadership and the non-transparent way we are functioning. We have to decide, are we a democracy or what are we? Are we a kleptocracy or what kind of representation do we want to have? Right. So that's the other thing I want to say. And a lot of times I also get very emotionally charged up. And part of the reason I think most people will know, because I've said before, my mother's grave is still in our Imphal property. I have no access to that. My children have no access to that. And the recent news, I don't know if it's rumors or if it's confirmed news, but apparently my own house has been used as the headquarters of the Arambai Tingul. This is the pain that I have to live with every day. And this is not something that I will accept. Anybody saying that I am not within Manipur or within India, and therefore I have no say or I have no stake. And if anybody has any dissenting opinions, I would even challenge them to come and confront me and talk to me if they have any more stake. If anybody feels like they have more stake, come and talk to me. What have you lost?
Yeah, Lien.
Lost?
Florence wants to address something.
Yeah,
Lien.
so just to help everyone understand what Lien is talking about, and to support Lien in his comments and his statement. The reason why Lien continues to be vocal, where I allow myself to be vocal as well, is again, we understand that it is difficult for people in India to speak up. We understand that it is, but the sentiments that you hear from people like Lien and I are not strange or off the wall sentiments. These are sentiments that exist. They are real. They come from a real place of pain, and the elected representatives do need to understand. And frankly, they probably do. And if they do, I've wondered if this is a PR issue where elected representatives may be doing their best that they can, and if they are, then they do need to share that with the public, because the public doesn't understand that they are. The other thing I would say is, as this is a democracy, as India is a democracy, as we all know, we need leadership. Indians need leadership, especially Amy. Our people need leadership. If the leadership is not being given by the elected representatives, then I would encourage young people. We have the same issue in the US. A lot of our leaders are very incumbent. In India, I would encourage young people to consider a life in politics and in joining the political discourse, because that is where there is a lot of ability to affect change, the kind of change that you're looking for. And we need, I come from a technology kind of a startup background, and we need to be very competitive. It is only when there is competition that the service and the product, so to say, become better. And so we need young people, especially, um, uh, using the political process, using the processes that exist, using the infrastructure that exists to lend their voice and lend an
Yeah, agree.
leadership.
Yeah, agree. Political products nowadays are laced with new media technologies as well as other new techniques such as the data mining and all. But taking your conversation forward, Florence, I think yeah, people are really scared. I mean, if Nemcha Kipgen is not scared, why would she congratulate the BJP on winning elections in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, and Chhattisgarh? And in Chhattisgarh, we are seeing same kind of tactics against Christian tribals of Chhattisgarh also have been facing slow genocide, or rather slow pogrom. As I was reading an article where they are saying that United Christian Forum gets at least 100 cases of anti-Christian violence in Chhattisgarh, and we see Nemcha Kipgen congratulate the regime that is doing the same thing in Manipur, that is doing the same thing in Chhattisgarh. In Manipur, it has gone beyond what we as humanity can stomach. Also, we are seeing that Meitei Christians have been forced to do ghar wapsi, which Kuki Zo haven't done, or rather, I would say he has resisted. But even after so much of political developments and living in the age of media, somehow uh, the middle class of Kukizo, I think, the urbanized Kukizo of India, I think, has not been able to wake up. Because on ground also, there have been reports that people are very unhappy with the BJP MLAs. Okay, I can't say that the other two or three MLAs, their party is responsible for this program against the Kukizo, but the BJP policy wise is responsible for the program against Kukizo, and we are also seeing that they're targeting scheduled tribe classification of vernacular Christian tribals right now in the northeast. So many political players are there, yet somehow the middle class of Indian Kukizo are totally silent.
Yeah, so Sheikh,
Your thoughts on that?
yeah, let me respond to that a little bit, Lien. I'm sure, but if you don't mind,
Yeah, please.
I think you bring up. Thank you for bringing up Chhattisgarh and other areas as well. Like I alluded when I first started speaking, I was completely unaware of a lot of the issues that are ongoing. I think the India story is an amazing story. As a tech person and an entrepreneur myself, I have benefited from and continue to observe and see and participate in kind of the value, let's say, that the India and the Indian diaspora has created all over the world. But there is all over the country, a lot of people have been facing what really amounts to a huge distraction for everyone. Of course, existentially, and if you're facing it, the word distraction doesn't seem start to cover the pain of losing lives, losing livelihoods, etc. But I always and I know it's very difficult for people on the ground, and even, by the way, even here in the U.S. So a lot of middle class Indians, or a lot of Indians that are people, Americans of Indian descent, that are either Christian or Hindu or Muslim origin. There are so many people that have reached out in solidarity to me, to us, and have also shared their own stories, and even for communities that are not affected, in a quiet moment, they'll come up to me quietly, not in public, and they'll express sympathy, and horror at the kinds of things that are happening in India. And so there is, not just amongst middle class Kuki Zo people, but amongst all, let's say, middle class or centrist thinking people of Indian descent, or Indians themselves, whether they are in the U.S., in Canada, in India. There is the fear, or the fear to speak up, or it is easy to get caught up in just the day-to-day of life, and ignore all the bad things that are happening in the world. I myself am responsible of having done that. And so I would encourage everyone to look at the political process. It's not for everyone to speak up. It's not for everyone to say. And in fact, I will tell you, more than even the people that are vocal, like Lien and I, there are so many people whose names you'll never hear that are working behind the scenes, working very hard, have helped people either individually. In fact, my own family was saved because a young Métis person sheltered them in his home. So I want you all to remember, there are good people. People are afraid of being vocal, but I would encourage everyone to use then the existing mechanisms for trying to evoke change. There will be the leaders amongst us that rise up and stick their necks out, and so on, and there need to be more in from the community itself. But meanwhile, never lose hope, and always just do the next right thing. That's comfortable for you to do.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, agree. As you know, as Florence was saying, basically she's saying that we have to create external pressure as well as internal pressure to have the churning within the community, as well as withstand whatever uh, external enemies are sending towards you. Anyways, I think the political solution to a large extent has been defined by Mizoram CM Laldu Hmar, who has said that we want Greater Mizoram to happen within the ambits of Indian Constitution. Lien, how do you see this? Because still, uh, Kuki Zo people inside Manipur, they are not able to take this discourse forward.
Yeah, Sheikh, that's also a very good question. So I think, but at the same time, I think for someone in my position, I think those are more advanced and more complex issues that I feel people that have closer connections to on the ground situation need to discuss that and kind of carry that forward. But what we're trying to do, right, as like, call us a pressure group or a concerned group, as global citizens for Kukizo, our interest is in having a conversation that is honest, open, and transparent in the public sphere. And again, our focus is very, very fundamental in a way, because we have to decide as a community Are we going to govern ourselves as a democratic society, or are we going to be ruled by a select few who are going to act in very, very undemocratic ways? That is the main question for our people. So, like, before we even hit these more complex topics, even like a simple petition, right? What we've put forward, those things need to be clarified. Our own community needs to have a clear vision on where we want to move forward, because even as empathetic and as supportive as the Mizos as a people and the state of Mizoram and Pulal Duhoma, like whatever their stances are, if we don't have our act together as a one united people in Manipur, they, even if they want to so bad, they cannot help us. So before we even talk about these grand ideas and grand aspirations, we have to decide amongst ourselves that can we at least even let a simple petition run its course.
Yeah.
You don't have to agree to what the petition is asking. It's a very simple petition. You can either sign on to it or you can not sign on to it, and we can have an open discourse, right? We can have
Yeah.
a discussion in our the whatever little media channels we have in our vernacular dialects and languages, and those are the things that we have to do at the community society, like at the grassroots level. And right now, that is the struggle, and that is what we have initiated. And I
Yeah.
think my hope is that we can have that discussion so we can build the foundation to talk about
Mm.
all these other grander and like much much bigger ambitions and aspirations. So thank you. I don't know if
Yeah.
that is, yeah.
Yeah, even the FMR, it is More is being protected right now by people outside More and outside Manipur. It is Nagaland and Mizoram. It is their state governments that want the FMR to stay. Otherwise, cookies inside Manipur have not been able to get this message across to various parties across India so that they can take this up. There are many cookies outside Manipur and Mizoram, and as I said before, I don't know, for some reason they are thinking that these two MLAs or MLAs in general are representation of God, or maybe they are thinking that these people are kings. But as far as I am concerned, and any Indian can ask for these two MLAs to resign from the cabinet of Biren Singh, because it is morally right and it is ethical. And
Exactly.
on top of that, uh, it is our Indian taxpayer money that is sustaining this
Absolutely.
genocidal government in Manipur, and this government has to be dismissed at any cost. And we are going to help the Kukizo in making sure that this happens. Signing off, last question to both of you. What's the message to the Kukizos now? Please make it short and quick. Florence first.
Um, just be positive and do something every day. Please sign this petition if you are able to. Remember, online petitions can be signed anonymously, and if you can ask your friends and family to sign that, that would be good as well. You do not have to put yourself out there. It can be anonymous, and more than anything else, have hope. I have a lot of hope in all of this, so I hope everyone does as well. Thanks, Sheikh.
Yeah, Lien.
Yeah, thank you once again. Thank you, Florence, for your comments, and Sheikh also having us on your platform again. And I think my basic point would be for us as a community to have an open, transparent dialogue and have a discussion on this petition, and to see how we want to come together as a democratic society. Do we want to move forward as a democratic society or not? I think this is, to me, the success of this petition is not only in the letter of what it calls, but even if we can get this to an overwhelming majority of our people, especially those on the ground, those in the front lines, I think to me that will be the big success. We don't need for everybody to vote and or voice their opinions in the way we've asked them to do. Even if you disagree, we would count it as a success if we can put it in front of every single Kuki Zo community member, wherever they live. I think to me that'll be a huge success. And I would also like to, send an open invitation to all our vernacular channels, and especially one that comes to mind is, the rebuttal, let's say, so to speak. An anonymous rebuttal to the petition campaign, if I'm not mistaken, was circulated on one of our vernacular channels, I believe, Lunpu News or something like that. So I think I would also ask them if they deem it fit to read an anonymous statement as a news item. They should have at least somebody from those of us who signed the petition and bring on their channel and have an open discussion. I am here using my real name, my real face, speaking about real issues. If you have any honor or dignity, I would ask you to come not as an anonymous person, but face me and tell my, and I also don't want to like um, mm, present this.
Lien, please make it
Is my
short.
own. This is my own initiative because it's a group initiative, right? But sorry, Sheikh, if I may just finish this point. So what I'm wanting to say is, please let's have an open discussion. If we're somewhere wrong in calling, whatever we're calling in this petition, come and let's discuss and debate what the issue is, where you disagree. So let's not devolve ourselves into some anarchic structure. We want to strive for a democratic future for our people. So I want to invite everybody to have an open mind, and let's not give in to fear. Right? This
Yeah,
is the 21st century. Our people have suffered enough, and I don't need to remind everybody about how much we have suffered. So I would request everybody to have an open mind, and let's approach this new year to drive unity, but we have to do it in a transparent and in a democratic way. Thank you so much.
viewers, thanks for watching. This is Lien Gangte and Florence Lowe. They were with us and they are trying to put forward a case so that their democratic setup is much more participatory. And let's hope that it stays that way. And we, as independent media, are looking to make sure that the marginalized communities across the world find their democratic voice through us. Thanks for watching DYNT News. Like, share, and subscribe. Democratize your nation today. And our tagline: awaken one human at a time.